Hello everyone, welcome to our channel. Thank you for stopping by. We're just delivering useful information to help you get through your days because I know people are busy, and so I'm going to get some information together for you, whether you're looking at current events, things in science, things in health, whatever it may be. I'm going to be looking up articles and stories to bring to you so that you can just take a few minutes in your day and maybe get something that's useful for you to make life a little bit easier, and things that obviously that you're not just going to hear from the mainstream media. And so if you want to get more of these useful articles, topics, videos, information, stop by our channel, and we would love it if you liked and subscribed to the channel so that you can come back and get more content, and so other people will be able to also see the channel and get information also. So today we're going to go into some more about ascension, because this has been a huge thing in my life and my husband's life. We feel like we've been on a so-called what people would term as an ascension journey for about 8 years now, and it really has included so many symptoms and changes in ourselves as we've grown spiritually. We've pursued a path towards God that started out in just layers of awakenings and knowings and then symptoms in the body to clear out negative energy in the body and to make the body lighter. And so, sometimes these things can be scary, can be worrisome. I have a history of having a lot of different things that I went to the doctor for, but thankfully, since I've been on my spiritual journey and I've actually learned what is causing a lot of these things, I've been able to stay out of the doctor. And so I find that sometimes these things can be very scary or concerning, but they come and go, and they usually just don't end up being anything. You can go to the test, they can't find anything, and then a lot of times it'll resolve itself. Or I find that it comes in for a few days or even a few weeks, and it goes away for months, and then I may experience it for a few days or a week again, but then it resolves itself. And so, it has been explained to me by my connection with God that it is like a clearing out of the body. It is like Drano going into a clog in the body, and it can cause symptoms, especially if you've had injury or you just lived a traumatic life and there's lots of trauma that's stored in your energy. So I want to speak about this more on the channel just because it's been such a huge deal. My husband hasn't had any health history, but he's had a lot of the same symptoms. We've had them together, so we know that it's not just me or it's not just him, because we all of a sudden are saying, hey, this is what I'm dealing with, and he's like, oh, I'm dealing with the same things, and it's just right together, same, and it could be something so odd. So we just know that this is something that we're all going through from the energy changes on the earth and how we're all being lifted up in a spiritual manner. So I just thought this was a nice article from the Spirit Nomad, and I just thought I would share this with you. So let's read along together. Okay. Hope you all are having a wonderful weekend. It's getting a little warm out there, so stay cool and hydrated. Okay. Here we go. Have you ever found your mind awakening and opening to the reality that there is more to life than you can perceive? Oh boy, have I. If this is true, then you may be undergoing 5D ascension symptoms. If you're a light worker or a starseed, this is more likely to happen as you incarnated here to guide humanity through the 5D shift. The feeling of spiritual ascension might cause you to feel worry, confusion, or dread. And if that is the case for you, don't be afraid. It is all part of the vibrational shift we're going through now. All right. So, if when it comes to light worker and starseed, people pretty much know about those things. If that is something that is, you at a soul level, which I believe that a whole lot of people, or most people on Earth, fit this criteria. They're just waiting to be awakened or understand this. Okay. So let's go into what is it. The Earth is at the moment going through a historic shift in vibration, ascending spiritually from the third dimension to the fifth dimension. This is often called 5D Earth or New Earth. So from my understanding, we're kind of in the 4 right now. We're in a bridge. We were in just a really low vibration. We're starting, those who are awakening and, I would say pursuing a path to God, just, to be a better person and lifting themselves up, lifting those around them up. You could say that you're in the 4, moving towards the 5. So there is an earth ascension happening, but our bodies are also going through the same shift, some people sooner than others. This is leading to ascension symptoms as our DNA is being upgraded, because they tell us that most of our DNA, like we have 2 strands and we have a whole lot of junk. Well, from my understanding, there is no junk. God created everything in our body exactly what's meant to be there, and it all serves a purpose. So this DNA is being activated within us. When you can think of a computer being turned on, you can research DNA. It's much like computer programming, and it is being activated and coded with new codes coming in from the sun, light coming in, which is changing us. So profound. Okay, so this is because we operate on vibration, frequency, and energy levels as spiritual beings. Because Tesla said, if you understand energy, frequency, and vibration, you will understand how the universe works. It took me a long time to understand that, and once I did understand that we're just energy tapping into a frequency and vibrating at a certain level, this is how everything, how we function in the world functions around us. So it's very important to learn more about this. If you do not know more about this, which maybe I should make some videos on that, because they're now showing how, vibration, literally you can just see sand and it changes into a form by how, what the vibration is. So it's just showing you how our bodies are put together through vibration. It's just molecules, and we vibrate at a certain level and it forms, and now we're being changed to something different in form. Okay, so to experience life on a divine energy frequency, you must go through a journey of spiritual awakening. The 3D consciousness is the physical world in which we live, known to everyone. The 5D is the non-physical world, a level of consciousness that is only experienced by the spiritually awakened. Ascension is the process of raising your vibration, shedding your ego, and gaining control of your future through an elevated level of consciousness. Let me tell you, that shedding your ego, boy, that's something else. You don't realize how much it is in your driver's seat until you start trying to remove it out of the driver's seat. And then it's like the husband and wife that's like, don't be a backseat driver. I've got it. Yeah, and you're in that battle, but one is trying to be safe, but the other one's got the wheel, and you're just trying to coexist in the car. So once you figure out that we've been trained to fully be in that egoic status, it is quite the situation to take that part of you out of the driver's seat and your soul get in the driver's seat. But once it starts to happen, it is such a profound transformation. It helps so much to move into your soul part of you versus your egoic part of you. So based on your birth chart, which is a calculation of your place of birth, time of birth, and rising sign, you can determine your ascendant, also called rising sign. Why do I need to know this, you may ask? Simply put, your ascendant sign helps you figure out your purpose in life. Learning, and then I'm sure you can learn more about this if you want to know more about that information. The journey from 3D to 5D often takes a toll on both your body and mental health. This is because in the process of a spiritual awakening, your senses are heightened to adjust to new frequencies. Spiritually awakened people operate on energy vibrations that vary based on dimensions. As you ascend to 5D consciousness, you will experience several changes, physically and emotionally. Don't be alarmed. This is normal. And I can speak to that. 8 years that my husband and I have been gone, because we awakened at the same time, right around the same time. And we both experienced so much. But also another little tip that I've been told is that your ego has been driving your car, like driving the car, and I'm told don't let your car drive you. We know we get into the car and we go where we want to go. We tell our car what we need it to do, basically. But if your car is telling you what to do, that can be a situation for you. So sometimes, you'll realize the ego is all about the body, what the body feels comfortable in and wants to do. And you do everything in your life to just, cater to this part of you. And when you stop letting your car drive you and you let your soul drive, things change tremendously, because you stop with just your body talk, your mind talk, your egoic talk all the time, running everything to more of a soul level, and that it's going to be okay. And you just start letting things go, and you start letting your soul run the show. You'll see how it starts to step up once you just stop tending to that all of the time, or giving that the power in your life all the time. But yes, stuff will come and go. I've had so many situations with blood pressure, blood sugar, pains, dizziness, muscle tremors. I could just go through the list all day, and they all resolve themselves, and I have become healthier through this process. So in my mind, in my emotions, and in my body. Typically, for ascension to occur, you must have undergone some type of shadow work, which is what I'm sort of speaking of, is that, you're going through and you're addressing things within you. You're, working on forgiveness for yourself and others, or facing the stuff within you that maybe is stuff that, needs to be lifted up out of you, hurts, wounds, traumas. You're facing them, bringing love to them, telling yourself that you love yourself, and, you love those parts of you so they can actually be loved into healing. And you're, having forgiveness and letting those things go, giving out lots of grace for yourself and others. And so if you want to look into shadow work, that's a lot of part of what that is. And I may speak on that in the future in another video, because all of this is very important. Nevertheless, there are experiences everyone on an awakening journey goes through. The ascension symptoms can be physical, emotional, or spiritual. Some people get affected a lot. They might be going from doctor to doctor, but none of them can find anything wrong. That is true. I hear a lot of people talk about that. Well, unfortunately, doctors don't learn about ascension sickness in school. That's the truth. It is wild how they'll just lead you to the worst narrative when you have any symptom, Okay, so let's just go into some of the 10 most common ascension symptoms that we have listed here. You start to have body aches. During 5D ascension, it is common to feel unusual aches in different parts of the body. Moving your body can feel like a chore. When this occurs, you're releasing blocked energy from your joints. Some people become physically sick, and others wake up with bruises that weren't there the day before. It's all a part of the purification process that allows your body to ascend higher to the fifth dimensional frequency. So obviously that can be very concerning. And and sometimes when you think you have a cold or flu-like symptoms, it is just the stuff getting removed out of your body. So think of, when you're going through these things, my suggestion is think about how healthy you are and see yourself feeling great, because that's what raises your vibration, and it just helps this energy go through you better, and helps bring healing to the mind and body. When you're telling yourself this is perfectly normal, everything is going to be all right, and you just stay in that mindset, it'll resolve itself faster. You may have sore joints. Why do my knees ache when I didn't perform any physical activity? I have that. Why do my arms feel heavy? Why is my neck stiff? Have all of that. I have numbness that comes in the arms. My husband also in the legs. Lots of tingling, lots of things like that. Okay, so you may start to experience fatigue. The process of ascension takes a toll on your body, so you often feel tired. You might start to realize that you're always sleepy and lightheaded. You're prone to inactivity due to your soul reaching for higher realms. Many people experience astral projection through sleeping. When we sleep, our egos are dormant, so our energy frequencies are heightened. This is time for a system reboot. And I can also speak to, I would tell people I am not a napper. I have a time going to sleep, even when it's time to go to sleep, even when I'm really tired. So I definitely have a trouble napping, because I can't just, go to sleep that easy. But lately, past few months, boy, I can just find myself falling out for a couple hours on the couch so easily. And sometimes I'm just, I'm busy, and then I'm just thinking, I am just so tired. I just gotta sit down for a little bit or lay down, and then I'll just go into a nap or almost like a meditative state for a few hours. So I can tell that my body is definitely wanting me to slow down and take some time to rest. Also, the lightheaded, I can feel like a balloon is in my head where it's just going all over. Like, it's not exactly dizzy, but I don't exactly feel like I'm really connected to my body, and maybe the equilibrium is a little bit off. So had many times that I've dealt with that, resolves itself. Okay, you start to have frequent headaches. Many people deal with migraines during their ascension. Your elevating consciousness can cause a sharp pain in your head. The process of reaching for higher dimensions is stressful for the human body. This stress can present a constant headache. Don't worry though, you'll get through it. All right, and I find that tapping, boop, 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 boop. Tapping, that'll move energy also. So if you have a headache, get some tapping, yeah, bring it all through. All right, and there's also supplements that can help you with that. There's many things now that can help you naturally with migraines, which is just wonderful. You may notice toothaches. Feeling toothaches after a dentist has issued you a clean bill of dental health can be a symptom of 5D ascension. Teeth serve as a telepathic channel for energy frequency. In the early stages of awakening, energy passes through the weak and vulnerable parts of your body. So interesting about that, I had a couple of years ago a tooth that, people would think it was at its worst stage. And then I went from them telling me that I need to have it removed to thankfully waiting a little bit, because I couldn't quite make that all happen when it was first being suggested to me. So I felt a need to wait, interesting enough. And then when I waited a few months and I went back in, they did all these x-rays, and I have 5 people check me and the x-rays, including 2 dentists, and it was no longer an issue, and I did not have to have my tooth pulled. So that was a huge lesson for me, because I did not want to have my tooth pulled, and I really thought that it was going to need to be done, and it resolved itself. And I'm a couple years down the road, and it's been good. And so it's just a story for you all to maybe just pause before you make movements that you can't reverse, because this stuff is for real. All right. You experience vision changes. Some people find their vision changes during ascension. Those with clear eyesight can develop very blurry vision. The reverse is also true. A person with poor vision can get improved eyesight on their journey. My husband and I find that we have very good vision, and then we don't have very great vision. So it comes in and out. So you're thinking you need glasses, and all of a sudden you're like, I see really well. And then next minute you think you're seeing really well, and then you're just trying to see something right in front of you and you can't see it. So that has been quite an interesting thing for us to walk through, because my husband went and got these expensive glasses, and then he didn't even need them. And so we end up getting us, like some really cheap little readers, and then when we go through those moments, we use those. But our eyes, they have shifted through this process back and forth. So that's very interesting. Tummy issues. Irregular bowel movements can occur. You might also feel butterflies in your tummy or slight discomfort at intervals. It's an effect of the physical stress your body is going through while reaching for spiritual awakening. And I can definitely tell you I get a lot of energy in my belly. Very normal. Skin changes. In rare cases, people shed their old skins during ascension. This is common with light workers who get smoother and brighter skin. New energy radiates from within and translates into a shining glow. And I will say that yes, I had more rough time with my skin, and it is resolving itself, and I am thankful, and I feel like there's almost an anti-aging effect that is now coming forth after doing my work for some time, and I am so thankful for that. You can get clumsy. Things fall from your hands more often than usual. Your knees might knock. You could feel jittery. This is a result of energy coursing through your body, making you nervous. You have sudden hot flash or flu. You could feel a sudden feeling of warmth in your upper body, including your face, neck, and chest. It occurs when energy is flowing through your body. You may also feel cold immediately afterward. If your forehead is hot, it could be the ascension flu, which feels like the normal flu many people get when they catch a virus. So that is something I have went through a few times. It's not like your usual, you have some of the symptoms that might be associated with those things, but it just feels like it's just a little bit different, and it does resolve itself. I've never taken any, antibiotics or any medication. I just give my body rest, supplements, vitamin C, that kind of thing, and take care of myself. And these things all resolve themselves. But hot flashes, yes, heat up the spine, just wake up at night, because I am around that time where women go through hormonal changes. But that has not been something that is a part of this walk. You wake up, your back is so hot. It could be on a cold winter night. Or, you're sweating randomly or just having hot flashes. So with women, they might think that they're going through some hormonal. Men, obviously, not so much in the same, but this is all very normal to go through heat and cold changes, and even burning patches on the skin, where they call them like hot pockets, and you just get a little burning patch here or there. Also will usually remedy itself. My husband has had to use a few creams to kind of soothe that at times, but then he finally got over it and he didn't have to use anything anymore. So that's, again, probably part of the skin situation. But don't get worried or concerned, because the more you stress out and get worried and concerned, the more you take yourself into a worry or concern situation, versus it just moving on through, and your body can heal itself. It's very powerful. And of course, so they're talking about a few things that you can go through. Disorientation, if you feel confused about where you are. People often zone out of reality for short periods. It can happen when your soul's transition is clashing with your present 3D reality. Being in the third dimension becomes a chore. So, yeah. Memory loss. There are gaps in your recollection of events due to regularly zoning out. You realize that you have mental blackouts that occur at this time of your ascension. Memory loss is expected effect of being in more than one dimension at a time. When you're in 5D consciousness, your 3D reality pauses, so it's natural to experience a disconnect because of your transitions. But I have found that, a lot of things from my past are starting to clear out of my memory bank. But the good thing is that a lot of the good things stay. It's probably stuff that I don't need to hold on to anymore, so that's great. Identity crisis. Going through changes physically and emotionally affects your mental health. You've likely lost your desire for things that once excited you. The vibrations around you now make you feel uncomfortable, so you make changes. Your newly found traits and habits can be confusing when you suddenly acquire them at an older age. Embrace the change, because fighting it can be painful. Trust the process and make peace with your evolution. And yes, I have so been there, where everything that I was so interested in or pursued in life just fell to the wayside, and I've had to reconstruct everything. And I'm still in that process of figuring out really why I'm here and what it's all about, because you do start just losing interest. I know I'm here for my soul's purpose and to, be here for God's work, and to obviously, learn and grow and experience. But you start tapping out of just maybe the hobbies or the certain jobs that, that you were once drawn to. So this is perfectly normal. Irritability. The cumulative effects of identity crisis, disorientation, memory loss, etc. can cause irritability. The feeling of losing your sense of self makes you on edge and quick to get angry, but it's a common part of ascension. But, I would also say that, give grace and forgiveness to yourself and understand what you're going through, because if you know this, you don't have to get nervous, you don't have to get angry, which is your fight or flight. So all that's just working against this process. So just be at peace with it all and know that it is perfectly normal. Mood swings. You may feel wildly happy one day and depressed the next. It's like being on a roller coaster. I speak of this often because I can feel this really blissful, happy state. Woohoo! And all of a sudden it's, oh my gosh, I need shed a little tear. But it's not to the point where you realize your mental is in some type of situation. It's just that you can notice these little shifts that kind of go through for a little, a few minutes here, a few minutes there. Okay, anxiety. Panic attacks are common for people who are ascending based on the uncertainty they face in their journey. Forgetting everything you know and embracing new reality is challenging. Focus on breathing. It helps with panic attacks. Your ego is losing its control and it's afraid. You feel powerless and vulnerable because you're leaving behind unnecessarily old habits. Don't be afraid. Once you fully ascend, you'll feel safer and at peace. And I will say also that, my advice is that it's really the child within you that's been through trauma that is scared. And when your soul becomes a parent to that child of trauma, I love you, you're going to be okay, you're safe. So you're speaking this stuff to yourself and really understanding and really parenting and comforting and healing that part of you within, so it just blankets out into your physical reality. And of course, breathing is so important. Hyperactivity. There's a surge of energy at the peak of ascension. It can make people feel hyperactive. They pick up new tasks to occupy their racing minds. Ascension can make you restless. The inability to focus comes from your spirit longing to be in the fifth dimension. Once you start getting comfortable in 5D, your energy levels will spike. The increased and expanded cognition makes 3D consciousness a bore for you. Yeah. And when really you need to be meditating and praying more often, so you're trying to slow down, but also you're speeding up. Change your life view. You feel a sense of dissatisfaction with life and an overwhelming desire for purpose. Your habits change as well. You can acquire new tastes in your diet. Your interpersonal relationships also go through the ringer, either to say they get strained or strengthened. And yes, I will speak to that for myself, is that my whole diet has been changed a whole lot. And stuff you can just tell it doesn't work for you anymore. And then, I spoke of that earlier, what you may have been interested in before, you're not interested in now. So all of those things change. And even your relationships, you just don't click. Your beliefs are here. You're on this path to raising yourself up to a higher level. And someone that may be in your life for a long time is just not interested in that at all. And really, you need that support, because this is not easy. So finding people who can support you in this journey, maybe going on they're on this path also, will help you tremendously. But loving yourself, that's always the foundation to it all, is putting that foundation in. So God is your self-love within. All right, creativity. Ascension awakens your inner creative juices. You can develop an attraction to new colors based on psychological meanings. You acquire a superior insight into life, unlike the average human being. Drawn to nature. People who are ascending feel drawn to nature. Being places like parks, beaches, waterfalls appeals to them. A new understanding of every living thing makes them feel at peace within the environment. Many intuitively switch to plant-based diets while becoming farmers or florists. There's a sudden need to connect with nature. So I have moved to nature. I was a city person, and then in the last few years, I was led, to be in somewhere where I'm not around so much energy from the technology, the Wi-Fi. That's not really helpful for this ascension process, to just having so many people's energies constantly surrounding you, because we pick up on other people's energies, and that affects us also. So, being in nature, surrounded in trees, water, all of those things can be so much a help to your journey. So I highly suggest, if you can, living around more nature, and if you can't live around more nature, visiting places where there is a lot of nature. Okay. This is a long situation. Okay, so we got more to read. I think I'm going to stop it there, and then we're going to get more into the ascension symptoms, because I know people don't have a lot of time, the reason for the videos. So we'll get back onto the rest of this video. So please come back for part 2. I thank you for joining us, and I would love if you subscribe and join the channel with us. Always, you can comment on the videos with anything that you can share. And I thank you all, and I hope you have a great day. Much love.